We're live.
We're live.
We're live. Were you holding the rock sign for everybody?
I was. The devil horns, as is customary with me. Cheers, everybody.
Okay, I didn't get you a drink.
No, it's all right. It's on its way.
Right.
It's on its way. We're going to be fine in just a moment's time. But
you'll have that Coors Light in your hands.
I will. Are we unmuted still? Yes, we are. So, can you believe it? Next week's fight week, boss. You ready for Cage Light in 53?
I am. And as Nick Heiler, who's watching on YouTube, video still gets him hyped. He gets me hyped. Got me so hyped we had to watch it twice this week. And he's like, what for? I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of feeling the groove, feeling the groove. But yeah, man, I'm excited.
Fight week. It's kind of like fight month coming up because we got 2 fight cards that are
in a month span.
Within a month span, which we're going to break down the July 2nd card top to bottom tonight, since it's really only 5 weeks away. And normally we break down the whole card about that time out. So that's kind of what this show is going to be breaking down. We're going to really quickly touch on some of the key fights that are happening next week, but we're doing a full fight card breakdown with the picks. And I don't know if we're going to be doing the hot wing, hot take or the Simmons picks anymore now that Simmons is a commentator, but I'm going to be breaking that down next week in depth for tonight. So many people have been asking about what's going to be taking place July 2nd, 4th of July weekend in Plymouth. Yeah, it's another numbered event. It's not going to be a combat card. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Boom. In the glass. Suzanne hooks it up. First day on the job.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Tremendous. First day on the job. Getting the cold cores. Gotta love it. But anyways, July 2nd. Kind of came to fruition just sporadically a little bit. Yeah. We had enough fights for June 4th where we could put together 2 cards. So you made the decision to put together one in July 2nd. And that's what's on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, man. Like we've talked about it a few times. We don't have a long show planned. I know everybody's waiting to watch the Celtics at 8:30. So we're getting in and we're getting out today. What's up, Maddie C? What's up, Chris DiCarlo? But yeah, basically, it really boiled down to is like, I've said it so many times. Like, if people put their name in to fight for Cage Titans, like, come hella high water, I want to do my best to make sure I give them a slot on a card. And, as we've been growing over the years, like, this card was just like, we were looking at June 4th. And as excited as I am for June 4th, and we'll go over it real quick, there are some names that are big Cage Titans names that didn't have a slot on the June 4th card, as big as it was. Names like Peter Barrett, D-Sab, Joe Giannetti, then some of the amateur title fights speak about big. Hassan Graham, the heavyweight title holder, Joe Poirier, Tyler Smythe. So there was like so many guys that wanted to get in. It's like, all right, so if I turn them away, that I don't like to do that. So anyways, we decided enough's enough. We're adding the card. I see the big man, Hassan Graham, is on there. He will be defending his title. We're going to talk about that fight tonight. But yeah, so it kind of came to fruition real quick, and I'm more than happy with both fight cards. So we'll quickly go over June 4th tonight, which we'll run down. And what's up, Cam? What's up, Alvin McLaren? Latino Dragon, best nickname. But we're going to go over June 4th real quick because that's already out there. We've already gone over this. We've dissected it. Next week, we're going to have an in-depth analysis of that fight card. But a lot of guys have been waiting, like, Mike, when are you going to announce my fight? July 2nd. Like, let's go. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So without further ado.
So tune in next week to hear us talk in depth about these next following fights that we're going to go through really quick.
So I'm going to go through. We'll go rapid fire. And this is in no particular order as of right now.
We'll have the order next week.
We'll have the order next week, but I'm just going to go right from the start. So Pedro Baez out of Iron Body MMA at 125, making his debut against Neil Masmudar out of Sityodtong. Then our second slot, John Payne is finally making that walk to the cage. This is a fight that was supposed to happen last event. This is a catch weight of 140. John Payne, 0-3 out of Lausanne, taking off John F. Tucker out of Go USFC, who's also 0-3. Someone knows got to go. Somebody's going to get their hand raised for the first time in that 2 slot at Cage Science 53.
Back-to-back fights, if that's the case, where you get the 2 0-3s
And
going
speaking
to
of,
get the wins, and 2 guys that
Go ahead,
are
take
0-2 that are absolutely skilled dogs, and Anthony Rivera versus Phil Bambino Lucino. These guys are very hungry to crack that goose egg in the win column, so 2 back-to-back fights happening. June 4th with that on the line.
And with those 2 fights, like, even in the John Payne fight and John F. Tucker, like, these guys, like, just because they haven't cracked the win column, like, doesn't mean that they're not talented, not skilled. They've just been in some dog fights that they've had, fight of the year for Lucino. Rivera's fight went viral over like 1 million something, 2 million views. So definitely I'm looking forward to those amateur fights. Segueing into our 4th fight at 155, Brandon Motor Boats out of South Shore Sport Fighting, taking on Gage Luby out of Go USFC. This is a fight that
third time's the charm.
So these guys were scheduled back in February. Something happened with Gage. He couldn't get cleared. So then he ended up fighting one of his students. Gage is cleared. He's ready to go. And Boats was a one and done guy, but he felt that since, Gage and him were the ones that signed up to fight each other and didn't get that opportunity, he'd come out and do one more. But he said this is it for him. So it should be a good one. Gage Luby and Brandon Boats. Gage, I see that you guys are no longer going by Go USFC, so just shoot me a quick message, and I'll get that name updated on our program. Cam Arnold fills a dog, hoping to see him grab that dub for sure, Cam. Next up, definitely circle this fight. Andrew Valdina has never been in a boring fight. The Gladiator out of Lausanne MMA. Taking on Siegfried Stevens out of SBG, Alabama, a teammate of Arthur Mopofu, 8-4, 4-2. You don't see many more experience in the amateur ranks than these 2.
And a huge testament of just how, I'd say mature Andrew Valdina is. You could say and make a case that you're ready to go pro off of that fight against Arthur Mopofu, but no, he wanted to stay in the amateur ranks. He made that decision, wouldn't lose a draw with the title. Bouncing back after that fight of the year candidate fight to take on an even more experienced opponent and a teammate where he could kind of get a vengeful win over SBG Alabama in Siegfried Stevens, who is a teammate of Arthur Mopofu, obviously, who's going to be fighting again later that night, also in the amateur ranks. Just another, that's the theme of June 4th, kind of, is staying amateur for as long as you can, getting those experienced fights in before going pro. And Valdina's the first one to do that. And between both of these guys.
Yeah.
Close to
20
amateur fights.
4-2. You don't see that often in the amateur ranks. Moving on to our amateur titles. We got 3 of them up for grabs on this card. First one up, undefeated Kyle Puffal,
Yep.
Puffal out of Nostos, putting his undefeated record 3-0 on the line against Miguel Mother Effin Silvestin out of Lakeville MMA. Miguel has been telling me for a long time he is the best lightweight in New England, and he's just waiting for the opportunity to prove it. And the vacant title is up for grabs in this one.
Puffal undefeated. Out of Nostos, they're coming down with a mission from New Hampshire to claim the gold in Plymouth against one of Plymouth Royal Hall's favorite fighters of the past couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Grenier, we're sad you won't be judging as well. I wish you the best. He's moving, one of our longtime judges.
Oh, wow.
He's moving down south to Florida.
Shout out to Jay Grenier. He used to come up and train at Rivera Athletic Center way back in the day. He used to come up and get rounds in. So hope all is well, and best of luck on your move down there. Always a pleasure catching up to the events.
Definitely great. Next amateur title up for grabs. It's a defense. We got Jack Congdon putting his undefeated record on the line out of Lakeville, teammate of Miguel Silvestin. He's putting his title on the line for the first time when he takes on challenger Shane Delahaye out of Triforce. We've had Shane on the show. After that interview, I was like, many people are like, all right, whoever's facing Jack is just a body. And because Jack is destined for greatness, which a lot of people have been saying. And it's like, wait a minute, Shane Delahaye was like, I'm a legit threat here. And if you thought this was just going to be a showcase fight for Jack Condon, you're in for something else.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a great one.
Yeah, Lakeville MMA just coming to claim gold, and Condon defending it for the first time, but Delahaye proving that he's at least a decorated grappler in a grappling super fight against Brandon Avila, and standing at 2-1. Like you said, we had him on the show last week where he's talking about his background, how he got into this, and how motivated he is, and his athleticism. And that's just the title fights that make Cage Titans what Cage Titans is the amateur title fights. That stepping ground, that ultimate proving ground of you've taken your licks and you've given yours as an amateur. Are you ready to go pro? Are you willing to fight for 15 minutes, prepare for a full 15-minute fight and go there? And we got 3 of those title fights on here that they sell themselves.
Yeah, and we already talked about the 2. You got a vacant title up for grabs.
They've created some of the most historic moments that we've seen in the hall.
And then you got Jack Condon, undefeated stud, who's looked unstoppable, putting his title up for grabs for the first time. How do you top that? Well, this is how you top it. You're bantamweight champion, going up in weight to challenge for a second title, looking to be a champ in the amateur division. Athama Pofu, the Cage Titans bantamweight champion, is going up to featherweight, taking on undefeated Marcel Romero. Comes in with a 3-0 record. You remember his huge knockout over Dan Walsh, put his name on the map. He's a street beef champion. This guy is fighting in backyards. He doesn't care. He just wants to knock people out. And as for Arthur's up for challenges, and he's one of those guys that wants to get as most experience as he can. And this fight, he has an opportunity to become one of only few. I think Chris Matino might be the only person that ever hold 2 titles within Cage Titans. Mitch Raposa, was he flyweight
25,
and 35?
I thought he was 25 and 35, and so was Jacobo.
Jacobo was
30.
Jacobo. So Chris
Jacobo
Matino, Jacobo Pito, and it looks like Athama Pofu will look to be the third one. I'll have to look into Mitch.
Yeah, we might have to look through that lineup and see if there's been any other multiple weight champs. But
so there's all the amateur fights.
Cyril.
Zach Cyril's back, and I clicked on his comment. Then I was like, what are you an idiot? I'm not going to keep that up.
No. We can't feed the troll this early.
No.
He must have just gotten out of Facebook jail or something if he's chiming in now.
Next up is our first pro. It's our first of 5 pro fights we got going on, 2 of which is our double main event.
You're swinging
2
from
titles.
the hip with the heavyweights, kicking it off.
Yeah, Fred Gray coming out of Management of Champions down in Atlanta, Georgia. He's flying up to take on Loco Lobos heavyweight beasts and Brandon Battles. Heavyweights never seem to disappoint. Why people like heavyweight fights is because these guys have the power to end a fight like that. You're always on the edge of the seat because every strike that gets thrown could be the night.
Even in a low,
yes.
You just hear the impact when these guys hit each other, and you can hear it shudder throughout the walls of Plymouth Memorial Hall. It's been a while since we've had a professional heavyweight fight taking place, but the big boys are back in action in 2022.
Yeah,
That's
so
insane. It's been I can't
when was
remember.
the last time we had heavyweight? We had Alex Davidson fight heavyweight for us. Or it was a 205.
No, it was a 205 against Daniel Mola. That was a 205 as a pro. And we had the heavyweight amateur fight with Hassan Graham and Eric Rondon before, obviously. But even still, professional heavyweights. I can't remember the last time I called one.
It might have been Brendan Battles. No,
I didn't even call. I don't think I called a Battles fight. I remember he had a fight fall through last minute once, but I don't think I've called a professional heavyweight fight.
So. Well, first time for everything. Zach Cyril, I will give you this comment. Shout out to Rob Fuller. Rob Fuller, he's a road warrior. He goes everywhere in his backyard and he takes on killers. And he showed why, once again, which we knew when he took out Jacobo Opito in that knockout of the year. Never underestimate Rob Fuller. He went in, took on Dan Shapiro, and knocked him out in 20 seconds. Picked up a big win this weekend. So shout out to Rob Fuller and his wife, Jamie Bruce.
That was crazy. Still showing it, no matter what the losing streak might be for that guy, he shows up to fight.
Yeah.
Chuck Knuckles.
Never. I mean, before that, he knocked out a guy in bare knuckle.
And Shapiro's another hot prospect who had a promising amateur career, and went in, fought Fuller early on, and
another funny story. Zach Cyril mentioned he didn't pass out, but there was a fight that the guy, his opponent, weighed in, and then he showed up to the day of the fight. and he got cold feet, and then I don't want to say he faked, but he faked that he was. I said I don't want to say he faked, but there was some curiosity on fight day before he was about to walk out. He had some issues. It was Owen Finnegan when he was supposed to fight Brandon Battles.
Gotcha.
So, anywho, I'll give Zach that comment as well. Zach, 2 for 2, man. You're doing all right now.
2 for 3. 2 for 3.
2 for 3. All right, 2 for 3. Next up, we got another really fun and exciting fight. We got the Scarecrow, the return of Trevor Goody out of Citadel, taking on Justin Burrell out of South Shore Sport Fighting. You talk about a return. I think we talked about this before. Justin's been fighting since 2007. He's been around for a long time. Trevor Goody is the quiet guy. He was our amateur champ. I think he was undefeated as well. 3-2 as a pro. Beat a Gracie. He was calling for a shot with Billy Goff before Goff got signed to the Contender. He feels like his time is now, and he's ready to make a statement on this date. And Justin's like, listen, I don't care who. I told you before. He said, I don't care what the name is, just send me a name. And there we go.
I love it. Both guys kind of making their return. This is a fight where I'm looking at the top to bottom of this card, and it's filled with amateur title fights, pro title fights. But if there's
look at that, Rob Fuller in the comments.
If you don't know, now you know fight, Justin Burrell versus Trevor Goody is the if you don't know, now you know fight, because that one, Trevor Goody's no stranger to the Cage Titans cage. Everybody's seen him fight. Everybody knows what he's capable of, the dangers he possesses on the ground and in the striking departments with his length, his aggressiveness. He's just grown exponentially throughout his career as an amateur champion, throughout his pro career. And, he's sitting at 3-2 as a pro at this point, but he's really right on the cusp of making a surge to being a top contender in this region. And Justin Burrell is someone who, I knew he'd trained and fought long ago, way before I was ever involved in any of this sport, this sport at all. And he's always just kind of been on the scene, always cornering all the South Shore Sport fighters, seeing him at the gym all the time. And just seeing him, I ran into him randomly, and he just happened to be in a plaza when I stopped at an ATM in Milford or something. And he just happened to be just parked
there. Truck driver.
And as I'm walking by, I just pointed. We just shot the breeze for a bit, and then just seeing how in shape he's gotten over the past couple of years, seeing how hungry he is to fight, and then taking on a tough competitor like a top prospect like Trevor Goody.
After he's excited for this?
Hey, this is my, if you don't know, now you know fight. This is the fight.
It's funny, I was just about to be remember we said we were going to be quick on the
fight? And then we stopped being quick about a couple of them, so that this is the one that I felt like.
He's pumped about this fight.
I am very stoked about it. It's emotional, but yeah.
What is? So, real quick on Rob Fuller.
Rob Fuller.
What is up, Andy? Mike, all right, your boy. Good to see y'all, even if it's on live stream. Much love, Rob Fuller. I didn't even know you were still on Facebook. So, he's now that I know you're back under your real name, whenever I wanted to find him, it was always because he was Kimbo Slice. He was Cornflakes. He always changed his name. I thought you were off Facebook. And the last time he was in Boston, he fought at Combat Zone. I reached out. I had no way to get in touch with him. I reached out to his wife. And she was like, "Oh yeah, he's here," and we never connected. But Rob, definitely get it. Let's hook up soon, man, because we love you, and it's great to see you doing great things and still out there kicking ass and taking names. And it's good to hear from you. And congratulations on your win, definitely. Another quick catch up. What up, Richie Santiago? And what's up, Travis Lassard? Cornflakes caught another body. So our next fight. I know we keep saying we're going to be quick, but how can you not talk about Roberto Young versus Sean Lally, the unpredictable one? Both these guys love to throw bombs, throw leather. Lally asked for somebody who's going to stand and trade with him. Roberto's always asked me, he's like, stop getting these guys who just want to hump my legs. I want somebody that's going to throw some hands. They got this fight, so there you go.
Expect fisticuffs, expect violence, expect kill mode from
both guys. And now we're going to go to the title fights. And this is a fight that and
it's historic in a way where it's the first out-of-stater versus out-of-stater fight that's taking place really at Cage Titans.
Yeah. Well, we had the Cam Arnold versus speaking of Cornflakes, Rob Fuller Fuller and Cam are both out of staters,
Out of state,
but at least like
Cam is from New England.
Yeah, he's from
Maine
New
is still
England.
New England. That's
Yeah.
still the region. Upstate New York, I don't quite count as New England. No offense, but that's Yankee territory over there. But yeah, this is like the first fight where it's non-New England fighter versus non-New England fighter, and it's hitting in the co-main slot for a title. But Joe the Party Penifiel has definitely made a name for himself.
He's like an
around
adopted
these parts.
New Englander.
He's definitely an adopted New Englander. He's won the crowd over despite how antagonizing his shit-talking tactics have been pre-fight. He's won the crowd over every single time after every one of his victories. Still undefeated up in these parts. Has a nice shiny gold belt now to represent that he is one of the top contenders around here. And Chris Dissanel, so far up to
He found his
when it comes
match,
to
yeah.
the talking department, and there's only one way to find out if he's up to par in the fisticuff department. But a tried and tested warrior in his own right with 15 fights under his belt already. Definitely a title fight for the ages.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm pumped for this. You know, it's a party when the party's on the card. That's for sure. And Dissanel, I'm a huge fan. You know, in the few interactions I've had with him, seeing him on Table Titans a couple weeks back, like this is a title fight. That's, you know, I'm pumped up about. Cam said, "Don't refer to me as an out-of-stater again." The disrespect.
Well, we're in Massachusetts and you reside in Maine. Those are different states, so take no offense to that whatsoever, but it's quite literally the case.
Yeah, I didn't know. And
But
just because
Maine.
we say you're
Maine
out
is
of
great.
just because
Maine
we
is
say
one of
you're
my
an
favorite
out-of-stater,
states.
that doesn't mean you can't be cage tight in
Yes.
blood. You know,
Still
like,
New England, but
yeah.
you are out of the state of
You know,
Massachusetts.
so,
I don't get I don't get the disrespect there, friend.
Anyways, and then our second part of our double main event, Shameless Nation, Don Shanis fighting for the featherweight title against Bryce Pichard out of France. A first for us, bringing somebody in from Europe. It just shows like the growth of Cage Titans over the years. Like I remember, like we used to just have fights that were, you know, all guys local. And then it was a little bit further, and then like people are like, oh, you bring people in from all over. I'm like, yeah, we brought somebody in from Hawaii. Oh, we brought somebody in from Alaska, Chris Burbrick. Hawaii, Spencer Higa. And that was kind of like my furthest away kind of like talk when people like, where do you bring fighters in from? Now it's like, yeah, we bring guys in from Europe. Like we brought a guy in from France. So yeah, I'm pumped about this.
Wait till we get in Australia coming here drinking shoeies.
Well, we did have the party drinking shoeies.
That's and almost pulling a Steve-O and throwing up in the cage too. Like
He did.
he straight up gagged.
You
and almost threw
cannot
up right in the
shoey
cage.
an IPA. So as much love as I had, we learned as much love. It was like, all right, we got the Cage Titans IPA, Fight Night IPA. Shout out to Second Wind Brewery who brews it for us.
Big
We're like,
time.
all right, cool. What's a better photo op than shoeying one of the Cage Titans beers?
jeez.
Product placement, all that.
It almost ended disastrously.
Almost ended, and then the commission was not happy with me from the start. But I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways.
What? They don't want you to. The state, the government doesn't want you to drink a beer in a cage. What? What does that have to do with it? I'm sorry. Don't get me started.
But anyways, that's a different story for another day. But we got Shameless Don
I love the commission.
Shanis. I mean, realistically, we said it before his last win. You know, we hope you're not back again. This kid is right there at that cusp. He just won a title down south. He's like, I want the Cage Titans title because I know I'm the best featherweight in New England, not signed to the UFC, and he wants the opportunity to prove that. He's right there. I know we thought that the last fight with us was going to be his last. This got to be it. If he pulls off this victory, this is it.
It's undeniable at that point, and he's in a spot right now where I feel like Manny Bermudez was in a few years back. Although Manny was undefeated, Don's only had a few losses on his record, a couple of them up weight classes, and unfortunate injury. And other than that, you know, even with those defeats that have some sort of some with asterisks next to them, even with them, he's still got a hell of a tear going on right now, and he's had a few throughout his career, and it's undeniable that he's hitting his stride. And another belt is just something that's going to help his case to get to the big show, which is where I believe he deserves, and everybody else in the New England region believes he deserves. And he's worked hard to get to this point, and one more win should do it. But if not, you know, he's going to. I admire the drive that he has to continue to fight. different organizations, different states, moving from state to state, finding different camps to train with. You see it in the improvement of his performances. And yeah, I said it last time. I'll say it again this time. I hope this is the last time we see Don Shainis in the local scene. But
yeah, man.
yeah, Peugeot is
he's no joke.
Not an easy task for him whatsoever. He's flying across an ocean to take all of that hype. He's coming in like a pilgrim, landing in Plymouth and trying to tear shit up for the rest of the time. And that's what makes it a fascinating fight for me. Is it's the silent. People don't really know who Chris Peugeot is around these. Bryce Peugeot. I'm sorry, my apologies. Bryce Peugeot is around these parts. And if this is possibly Shainis' last fight around here, what kind of a name is he going to propel himself to if he could silence the Plymouth Memorial crowd?
Definitely.
So that's actually it's goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm scrolling because I'm trying to get his accolades just to give you a little bit of like, oh yeah, of course you say he's good. You're trying to sell a fight. I'm trying to. He's a black belt in karate and judo, national former Sanda and pankration champion, and he also has a wrestling and boxing background. So I mean, this kid is not just coming in to lay down. He's coming to, put a show on.
He's coming in like a pilgrim.
Like a pilgrim. All right.
That was funny, I gotta say.
There you go. That was a good one. All right. Well, you're practicing for your open comedy night, which is next door, open mic night.
Yeah.
Get a couple jabs in there. And last week, before we get on to the next card, we're going to go over that because we got 15 more minutes before the show. Well, I said 8:30.
All right, fair enough.
You got your dad here. You guys are going to go do some open mic night. So we don't want to keep you long. And they want to watch the Celtics, I'm sure.
Oh, of course.
But
all the fight fans
comedy night was great last Thursday.
It was tremendous. I can't thank you enough for hosting it. Can't thank the comedians enough for coming by and performing. And can't thank the crowd enough that showed up. A bunch of guys and girls from the Cage Titans community did support. A bunch of other walks of life of mine that came and supported. But
Aaron Hughes was here. Chris Martino
was here.
Danilo Portugal.
Yeah,
Brad Pico.
Yeah. So it was great just to see everybody come together and get some laughs. Yeah, Justin Simmons was in. It was a tremendous show, and you were so impressed by it. You want to do it again very soon. So
yeah,
we'll have to keep you all posted on
so.
when the next one is. But yeah, it was tremendous. Fucking hilarious. I was laughing my ass off the whole night. Yeah. You were freaking crying back there.
It was a couple of good ones. A couple good guys, Kuze and all this.
Oh, what's Cyril saying now? I gotta see what his shit talk is.
Andy is not funny. What a waste of time watching him do comedy. Rob Pico said it was a great time.
Oh, Cyril.
Well, we do have some quick news before we get to the second card that I'm pretty excited about. We did release this video earlier, but as you saw me move this can at the beginning of the show, because I was reminded that we have a new energy drink sponsor. So
you're done with Monster for good?
Well,
you're on camera right now trying to tell.
So this will be my last Monster that I have because we have a new sponsor for Cage Titans.
You're never going to drink a Monster again.
I don't know. I support those who support me. I used to be a Rockstar guy, and then when Monster started supporting the UFC, I started drinking Monster specifically because they supported the UFC. And I've been a Monster drinker since. Then when Reign sponsored Cage Titans, I was like, all right, I'm a Reign drinker now. Mm-hmm. Then when they didn't sponsor us the last show, I went back to my good old trusty white can. But we got C4 Energy. And without further ado, if you missed the video,
C4 energy drink. It's explosive shit.
So, cheers to my last Monster.
And not my
I'm
last
gonna shed
course.
a little tears, not your last course.
Not my last course.
They have some good C4 drinks, though. They sent me some to try. They got pink Starburst. They have a Skittles flavor. They got a red Starburst. They got a bunch of other flavors. So
Starburst flavored energy.
Starburst flavor, yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty solid. So I'm not mad at it, but there you go. You witnessed my first monster, and I
Your
even
last
told
monster.
my last monster. I even told them, I'm like, people will bring monster to the front door for me when they're waiting in line. They're like,
Yeah, and he'll drink 6 of them in a day.
well, I told them I was like, I became synonymous with monster. So we're gonna do our best for C4.
It's not good. It's the equivalent of like John. You know, like there were rumors that John Wayne would smoke like 7 packs of cigarettes a day. That's like you with Monster on fight night. You just start chugging them to
Well,
the point where
to my
could,
defense,
you could they could probably run an electric power plant in a small South American village with your bloodstream after
140 milligrams of caffeine. That's like the equivalent of like a big coffee. So, like, how many people sit around drinking coffee all the time?
Sugars,
No sugar. I drink
Sodium.
it sugar-free. Yeah, try it.
ingredients.
Yep. Actually, do you remember when?
What is pyridoxine hydrochloride?
Oh, stop it.
What's inositol?
Justin Simmons.
Inositol?
If you remember when Justin Simmons was when Rain Energy drink was, remember he famously shotgunned a Rain for the camera, and there was a video floating around. So
Of Justin Simmons?
Yeah, Justin Simmons shotgunning a Rain, and he took he took the bang right out of his hand and handed him a Rain Energy drink. But yeah, there you go. So enough about the energy drink stuff. I love MMA and I love energy drinks. What can I say? I
Yes.
don't have any other vices. Cut me some slack.
Good for you. Good for you.
Anywho,
Energy drinks. That's it.
so we got about 10 more minutes, and we wanted to go over quickly the July 2nd card.
A couple of these fights I'm super stoked for. First time seeing them coming to fruition before my eyes. We're going to do the quick rundown right here in the next 10, 15 minutes.
Rob Pico. I got to put that comment up. It's too funny. He goes, it kills sheeps. Just drink it. And when the third dick grows from your forehead, you can sir. Rob Pico.
Oh,
You are something else, Rob Pico. Anyways.
Oh, Jesus.
So July 2nd,
Dude, right out the gate.
Cage Titans 54. I am working on the new poster. I'm hoping to drop the poster. Nick wants me to wait. No, I do not smoke, Travis Lazat. Nick wants me to wait till fight night to drop the poster. But some of these fights are so exciting. Like, I don't want to wait on dropping the poster. So I'm going to fight it out with Nick on social media and see. I think we might drop some posters. But anyways,
shit.
let's just go right from the top.
Dude,
Go ahead.
Right from the top. The first fight that we have listed on here, again, this is no particular order. We're still well over a month from the show, but we're 5 weeks away technically. So we got to let these people know that they're fighting so they can start promoting it openly. First fight, I am so stoked for this because this guy came and
Look at
made
that.
such
Right
a
on cue.
splash. Kid made such a splash just a few short months ago. Julian Jiggy Connerton out of Evolution Athletics with his first round knockout that was heard around the world against Stephen Goddard, I think his name
Stephen
was off
Goddard,
the top of my head. But he just a knockout like we've never seen in the Muay Thai ranks of Cage Titans before. Just completely exploded the doors and the roof off of the hall.
Yep.
And he's taken on one of someone who made a splash at our first combat night, who's just chiming into the comments right now. Will Asia, the Nigerian ninja, who had a crazy fight against Josh Showbiz Hagloff back at the first combat night.
People like, what the hell? How do we judge this? Because
One of the
Will comes
closest
from that traditional martial
and he's
arts.
got such a traditionalist background. His evasiveness comes to fruition in his fights. I think that he's going to have a great. It's a stylistic matchup that I think is going to poetically blend into a great fight.
Yes.
With the devastating power of Julian Connerton and the traditional style of Will Asia blending
throwing
together.
the heat out there.
I love it. It's going to be a fun one.
These boys can't hit him. And I remember him. He had his hands down. He was like, fuck.
Walking him down,
Yeah,
shoulder
it was-
rolling, and it was just I'm so excited for both of these guys to make their return.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, again, Ben Bracco in our next fight
Yep.
out of Triforce making his debut, taking on Bobby Homer out of Citadel. Bobby's been on the show before.
Mhm.
Ben's obviously new, but we don't know much about him. But
Yeah,
he's out of Triforce. You know the
You
killers.
never
out of
know
that
what's
team.
happening when you get in a debut fighter, but what we knew when Bobby Homer made his debut is this kid comes amped up, and he is as fired up as anybody I've ever seen pre-fight in the cage. He fought Jack Condon, who's going to be defending his title, and he took that fight on short notice. A testament to how tough he is and how game he is to fight anybody, anytime,
Jack was
anywhere.
supposed to fight
Jack
his
was
teammate, and he jumped
Yes,
in and
yes,
was like,
yes.
yep.
He was supposed to. That was the original matchup between Jack Condon and Steve Foley, but Bobby Homer stepped in when Foley had to fall out due to an injury and stepped in on short notice, making his debut against an already coveted contender in Congdon. So him jumping back in there after he's kind of rehabbing his hand that he injured in that fight. So stoked to see him back in the mix fighting and taking on a debuting fighter.
And Ben Bracco.
And Ben Bracco out of yeah.
And then
two great gyms.
Real quick, just so anybody tuning in now, this is the July 2nd card.
Yes.
Cage Titans 54. Sticking with Triforce, we got the big boys. Deshaun White, heavyweight, making his debut against Donovan Lozado out of G&G out in Springfield. We talked about it for the June 4th card, what it means when the heavyweights get in there and throw down. And Hassan Graham really opened the doors to this amateur heavyweight division. And we got two guys, Deshaun White at Triforce debuting, taking on 1-0 Donovan Lozado.
Deshaun White, another debuter out of Triforce. They're sending a swarm of new talent up in the MMA realm. So Deshaun White is going to be taking on most likely a training partner of the heavyweight champ Hassan Graham and Donovan Lozado. We haven't seen him in this cage before, but he is 1-0. And he's probably side by side with Hassan Graham as he's prepping for this title fight. So I'm assuming that he's going to come in shape and come ready. So that's going to be a fun heavyweight banger to kick it off.
And we'll talk about Hassan Graham a little bit later because he is on this fight card. I'm kind of excited about this fight. We got undefeated 4-0 Ben Grady out of Evolution Athletics taking on undefeated Sergey Parasunko out of Loco Lobo. Parasunko. Ben, Evolution has a bunch of killers up there. Mohamed Al-Kanyani. You obviously know this guy was one of his main training partners. 4-0 with that record. Sergey, he's looking unstoppable in his two fights. This is going to be an amazing matchup.
Yeah, especially his fight against Steve Foley, where he was in against a former title challenger and to climb to 2-0 over that caliber of an opponent. This kid is a force to be reckoned with, and he's taking on someone with double the amount of experience in Ben Grady, making the trip down south, and this could very well be a title contention fight for the winner of the Sevison and Pufal.
Well, they both kind of wanted some title shots. But then, because we already had the titles going on June 4th, Sergey is kind of in between 55 and 70. So, then he started training a little bit with Congdon. So that was kind of out of the picture. So this could definitely be the winner of this fight, fighting for the title later on.
I like it.
This fight could be a title fight in its own right if somebody already wasn't fighting for the title.
Truly could be.
But speaking of title fights, we got 3, just like we do on June 4th. We got 3 on July 2nd.
6-shooter title fights this summer for the amateurs.
And we have a pro one on this card, too. So between the two events, we got 6 amateur title fights over the course of a month and 3 pro title fights. But our first title fight up is, we spoke about him earlier, Hassan Graham is defending his title against Jack Burke out of Jackson Wink. Hassan was looking for the toughest test that he could get. Jack Burke coming all the way from Jackson Wink. You know the type of caliber when you hear that name in that gym of what they're doing out there. And he's coming in to kind of, upset the undefeated reign of Hassan Graham.
Well, they're both undefeated. Somebody's always got to go back-to-back fights with that being the case. But Jack Burke coming out of Jackson Wink, a highly coveted gym on
Hassan
a global
Graham,
scale.
I got to throw that comment up there. Hassan Graham, champ.
And,
big boy.
I don't want to. I'm just no comment there because I don't want that
Now you
energy to
scared
turn
him.
towards me. Yeah, Hassan Graham is a very large, very scary man, and he is the heavyweight champ, and he is the heavyweight champ for a reason. He's shown the knockout power. He's shown the cardio and the technique to go the distance with an experienced opponent. And Jack Burke probably has seen all those tapes and is stepping in there at 1-0, taking a flight across. That's just a testament to how tough they are out there in Albuquerque and how ready they are to throw themselves to the wolves early in their careers.
And when you look at heavyweight, it's a lot different than a lot of the other divisions. You can come in real quick and make a big statement.
The talent pool just isn't as big. No pun intended, but it's just like this, they're on the edge of the spectrum of averages when it comes to how many people are actually.
There's not normal people
yes.
walking around 6'5" in shape at 250 pounds.
Yeah.
But Hassan is really
see that. I want to see that fight.
Hassan Graham and Zach Searle. Come on.
Yes.
You said don't feed the troll. Why
I want to see that fight.
Yeah,
I want to see Zach Searle versus
Hassan would pick his teeth with Zach. But anyways, Hassan has come into Cage Titans. He's made his mark. And you know what I love about it is he's had a great head on his shoulders. Now he's like, let me get one more defense and maybe turn pro.
So much for one to only fight one time and be done, as we've heard.
Keeping with the title theme, we got great fight up next.
Oh, geez.
This fight has the makings of being great. Tyler Butterknife Smythe out of Evolution Athletics taking on Joe Poirier. Does Joe have a nickname?
Does not that I'm aware of.
So Joe's only loss was a title fight earlier, late last year. Nate, seems like he's going pro in his next fight. So he's like, listen, I don't want to hold up the belt. He hadn't defended it since he won it. And he's like, I just don't want to hold it up. But I'm not really sure what my future holds. Probably going pro. I'm not really sure. But, at the end of the day, he said he doesn't want to hold it up. He wants to give these guys the opportunity to fight. And he goes, guess what? If I decide I want to stay amateur, I'll fucking come back and throw down with these guys anyway, whoever wins. So he, no harm, no foul.
There we go.
He's like, let these young, hungry guys get it. They're the best. They're the best in New England, besides Nate Russell right now. Mm-hmm. And if he's going pro, these guys are 1 and 2 in the division.
And who was more deserving than Joe Poirier after his win over Rivera last time out? Ooh. It was just a viral suplex, guillotine. It was just a crazy blow up of a fight, and that's just his nature. That's his MO. That's his forte, is getting in there, quick finishes. And Tyler Smythe
fought that Muay Thai fight for us.
He's been in some dog fights in MMA and Muay Thai. His fight against Avery Andrews, one of the crazier Muay Thai fights I've seen. Went to a draw, and I think deservedly so. They were both cracking each other, hurting each other. He started getting hurt and tagged to the body, but he just showed his toughness, his grit, and how willing he is to just exchange in a firefight and just not say die. So I love that he's jumping into this title fight. I love that he's jumping into the title fight against Joe Poirier. It's a competitive fight that could go anywhere in the MMA realm, and it will be entertaining and competitive no matter where it goes. I'm stoked for it.
All right. I can tell.
Yeah,
this is your Trevor Goody and Justin Burrow fight.
They're all. I'm just excited. It's fight week next week. What the fuck? I'm going to be amped up.
So, Will Asia, you posed a beautiful question, and it's perfect segue. You got, why don't we have kickboxing titles? That would be tremendous.
I think your question should now be phrased, why didn't we have kickboxing titles?
So our next title
history
is our first ever Cage Titans Muay Thai title, and Lamont Payne is taking on Colin Robinson. Colin Robinson was originally scheduled to fight for, he's undefeated in MMA. He just got back from Greece, I believe. He was doing kickboxing over there, representing the USA. And he was fighting Jadoffer for the 185 MMA title. Mm-hmm. Jadoffer had to pull out. He wasn't available for the July 2nd date. Colin was like, man, am I still fighting? Do I have to wait till the next show to fight Jadoffer? Lamont Payne came across my desk. He was looking for a fight. I go, well, Lamont Payne just beat Jadoffer in a Muay Thai bout for the No Boundary Muay Thai title.
There we go.
Okay, well, let's do a Cage Titans Muay Thai title. And there you have it. So the question is answered, Will Asia. Colin Robinson will be taking on Lamont Payne out of Boneyard.
For the first ever Cage Titans Amateur Muay Thai belt, this is going to be a middleweight fight. And like you said, Colin Robinson was already chalked up to fight Jadoffer Juku for the middleweight title. Jadoffer can't make the fight, so throw on some bigger gloves.
He said, nah, man, I mean for me.
Well, we'll see what happens. You might not be too far away from getting the first ever 55 belt, but we got to see how the fights go. And, Colin Robinson, undefeated MMA. He's got an extensive Muay Thai background on Lamont Payne. Like you said,
Team Link Worcester is his team.
Colin Robinson, yep. And Lamont Payne in a Boneyard just won the No Boundary title. Why not throw a belt in at the Muay Thai ranks at Cage Titans? It's about time. I like it.
So he was a silver medalist in the Gamma World Championships, Colin Robinson, just to give you a little background on him. And then obviously Lamont Payne, he's been around. Mm-hmm. I think he has a 7-4 record. So, yeah, Superman, as they call him, as Travis Lasott pointed out.
And that wraps it up for the amateur fights because we got a load of pro fights that we got to get through for July 2nd as well, because it's not a combat card. It's Cage Titans 54. It's a numbered card, 5 weeks away. And introducing to the pros for Cage Titans 54, we've got a fight between Dewan Owens making his return to the Cage Titans cage, taking on the legend himself, Peter Barrett. Slippery Pete, Peter Barrett. Oh, I'm wearing a shirt.
You're wearing a
today.
shirt. Did you do that on purpose?
I normally don't, but hey, June's the next card, so I'm not supporting against the
So,
one right there.
Peter Barrett, we announced last week. Aaron Lacey had to pull out. He broke his ankle, had surgery last week. Obviously, that's not an injury that you can just push back to the July card. We worked on trying to get.
That was the last I heard, so I thought he wasn't fighting.
So we were working on getting Peter a replacement, but Peter Barrett's a tough guy to find a replacement on 2 weeks' notice. So we had Dewan Owens looking to step in there. He couldn't make the June 4th date, but he said, I'm down to fight Pete July 2nd. I'm super, familiar with him. Dewan has a victory over our lightweight champion, Joe Giannetti, who's fighting later on the night. There could be some title implications here with this fight.
That's what I'm saying. Is
Barrett
like
and Joe has been a fight that people have been talking about for a while. And Dewan, if he wins, he's like, dude, I already beat the champ. Like, let's do it for the belt now. He's puts himself for a title fight.
I love it. Dewan Owens makes a case with the win here to go for the title shot. He's a seasoned professional. He's fought everybody, any place in the world, anywhere, 18 and 16 in his career. But you look at just the names that he's faced between like Nate Andrews, Giannetti. I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but you just go through the crazy amounts of skilled opponents that he has fought for, better part of a decade now, if not longer than a decade.
He's fought 34 fights, 35 professional fights. He's turned pro in 2010 was his pro debut. So this guy's been kicking around for a long time. And big test for Pete.
Marlon Chito Vera.
Yep. So Luis Felix.
I remember him fighting
Drew Lipton.
Luis Felix as well.
Yeah, so he's my favorite story about Dewan Owens. You don't hear about it often, but he got brought in to fight a promoter. So a promoter reached out to him to fight him on his own show. And he went up to Canada and beat the promoter on his own show. I always thought that was a funny story.
Could have been your fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm smart enough to look up Dewan Owens and be like, yeah, that's a little much for me right now.
But Peter Barrett, Cage Titans legend, taking on the short notice opponent change. And
so hold on, real
if he
quick,
gets- if he
Will's
gets
going
the win-
crazy in the comments. I promise you, Will, this is not the fight order. These are just, we're announcing the fights. He said, don't park a Ferrari on the street. That's what it's like having him open the fight card. If you like money, put your boy on the high card, on the main card. You save the Ferrari for the show. I promise, Will, it's not the fight order. We'll take your comments into consideration when we do the order. But anyways, this is a great fight.
Yeah, I love the fight between Peter Barrett and Dewan Owens. Just 5 short weeks away.
Let's just jump 2 up for fun, because speaking of Peter Barrett, Dewan Owens, the 155-pound division, Spencer Heger is making his return from Hawaii to take on another stud in the lightweight division, Zach DiSabatino. 9-2. Zach has fought Pete. Pete has fought Zach. There's a lot of stuff going on in that 155-pound division. Spencer fought Barrett. It's like there's so much in the 55-pound division. And the title's on the line later on in the night, which we've already announced before. So here's another one that, like, the winner of this could put themselves right in line for a title fight against Joe Giannetti or Nate Williams, whoever comes out victorious.
Yeah, that one makes total sense as well. Whoever wins that gets a title fight, but I don't know if Giannetti and DSAB are ever going to fight.
It's Giannetti. Well, then if DSAB wins, there's a lot of moving parts. But just while we're at it, we're talking about the 55-pound division, and there's a lot of crossover. It's not in order, but we might as well mention it while we're talking about it. Then the lightweight title is on the line. Joe Giannetti is defending his title against Nate Williams from X3 Sports. We announced that last week. So when you talk about these 3 fights, there's a ton of crossover. Like, Giannetti has fought Owens. Owens holds a victory over Giannetti. Barrett holds a victory over DSAB and Higa. Nate Williams holds a victory over Don Chanis, who's fighting on June 4th. So there's a lot of good stuff going on in the division. It's really fun to be a part of the lightweight division in Cage Titans right now. And this fight card on July 2nd is really going to showcase that division. It's one of those ones you're going to be waiting for the results of every fight to see what could be playing out down the line. Anywho, we'll jump back to the next two fights. The women are on display.
Love it.
We had an amazing fight between Kylie O'Hearn and Gabriella Golfin on our last card.
It was a fight of the year candidate right there at the professional ranks, one of the craziest professional women's fight that we have seen in the Cage Titans cage. And both of those ladies are going to be returning to Cage Titans for Cage Titans 54.
Their fight was so amazing. For the first time in the history of Cage Titans, we had a female fighters featured on our official poster. It speaks volumes for not only them as fighters and how amazing that fight was. Both of them are coming back in separate bouts. First up, you got Hillary Rose out of USMMA, making her long-awaited return to Cage Titans, taking on Gabriella Golfin. And Kylie O'Hearn is taking on Alana Hansestone Jones out of Management of Champions. And those are two amazing female fights.
Gabriella Golfin proved herself to the Cage Titans fans and the New England MMA community with her absolute dogfight against Kylie O'Hearn. She lost no fans despite losing the fight. She gained a plethora of fans from stepping in there against Kylie O'Hearn and putting forth every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears you could possibly put forth to get that victory. And she's taken on another legend in the New England MMA scene, especially among the women in Hillary Rose. Like you said, making her long-awaited return to the Cage Titans cage. A former amateur fighter for Cage Titans. She went and fought elsewhere in a bunch of different other promotions as a professional, and fought in the Contender Series and is looking to bounce back and get a few more wins racked off in the win column to make a climb to become again another top competitor.
2017, she fought for us. 2015, she fought for us twice, all as amateurs. So finally, she makes her return back. And Gabriella Golfin, that girl, she definitely earned a spot back.
No doubt about it. And Hillary, even though she hasn't fought for us, she jumped into the commentary booth for a couple of fights last time out. She actually commentated the fight between Kylie O'Hearn and Gabriella Golfin. And let me tell you, I'm just excited for this because I'm a fan of both of these fighters. I love their style. I like how forward they are and how technical both of them are. I think it's a stylistic matchup for the ages between Rose and Golfin. And then Kylie O'Hearn, say no more. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of fight of the years that she's been a part of as an amateur and a pro. And Alana Jones, looking at her record right now, she has fought the who's who of women's MMA between Amanda Cooper, Holly Holm, Randa Marcos. Just an insane resume here over years and years. She's fought back in 2013, 2014. She fought Randa Marcos before women were even allowed to fight in the UFC. Holly Holm, she fought Holly Holm before Ronda Rousey made her UFC debut. And then let's go back up. So she fought 2013 to 2014. She's been on the shelf since 2016. And I don't know what's motivated her to dust off the gloves and take them for a spin, but she must be feeling hungry to take on a prospect in Kylie O'Hearn because she's taken no easy fight throughout the entirety of her career. And even off a 6-year hiatus, she's jumping right back into the deep end in a new generation of fighters. So Alana Hansestone Jones, big kudos to jump in and take on Kylie O'Hearn, and she was the winner of one of the fight of the years this past year. So she's looking to continue that momentum in her own right.
Yeah. So trying to look up some stuff. She also did some boxing matches. So yeah, she's no stranger to the world of combat sports. We will see what she's been working on for the last 5 years. So should be a good one. Definitely a good one. And then the last fight we have to talk about.
No, we got two.
No, we already went over Nate Williams.
No, we didn't go over Lionel and.
Yeah, so that's the last one we have to talk about.
We didn't go over Nate Williams and Joe. I mean, we kind of did a little bit. Yeah.
We kind of talked about it.
But yeah, the co-main event for Cage Titans 54 we've kind of spilled it over a little bit last show. We're going to talk about it more in depth as weeks go on. But this is one fight where once it was made, it was immediate excitement, as most fights are. But this one in particular
It was originally going to be on for June 4th,
Yep.
but we moved it to July 2nd.
This is going to be systematic.
Zach. Stop reading Zach Searle stuff. But we got Bruno Diaz, Jacare taking on Lionel Young. And I have Joe Penafiel's comments, New England finest. Coincidentally, they were both former opponents.
And both of them part of legendary fights against the now champ, Joe Penafiel.
And they both asked for they both want to get another shot at Barty Penafiel. So
Listen,
their
the winner
hope
of this
is
fight
that they
very
could get
good.
a win and then try to get back.
Goody's tuning in late after we just did the if you don't know now you know. Burrell versus Goody's the fight to look out for on that fight. But what's good, Trevor Goody? But yeah, Penafiel has caused such a stir through the divisions in New England. They're trying to get rematches already. So these guys are kind of fighting for that rematch. And Lionel Bugs Young, somebody who's been around forever, fought the who's who. We've talked about it over and over again, but he's still hungry, still chomping at the bit. Even after that loss, he still feels that warrior mentality. And Bruno Jacare Diaz is just an absolute phenom in every facet of MMA. Came up short in the decision against Party, but still has that hunger and knows that a win over Lionel Young is going to propel him right back to the top of the ranks at 135.
Yeah, man. When we talked about this fight, I was a little bummed out when it didn't happen for June 4th, but it was one of the main reasons that when we were talking about putting another card together, it's like, well, could we do it 3 weeks later and they'll be ready? And it looks like that's the case. So Bruno Jacare taking on Lionel Bugs Young. And the party has his stamp on it. He's already saying Bruno versus Bugs is fight of the night.
I like it.
And then Will Asia, who's all over the comments today, welcome back. Lionel's about to hurt someone's son. And then and that's something Zach Searle brings up a great point. I'm not going to talk for the party, but Party originally was a 25er that also kind of fought at 35. I don't know if he still wants to make 25 because he's being so successful at 35.
Tacos and
but,
beer.
He is a 25er, and I'm sure he would have no problem, putting the tacos and the beer down for a little bit and getting down to 25.
No
Maybe
problem,
whip somebody's ass. If he has an opportunity to whip somebody's ass, he's
see.
going to take it on. So either way.
There we go. We went through 2 fight cards today.
Shit, man. And it's only 8:44. We said we'd be done by 8:30. He wants Raposo. Yeah, Party's asked me for Raposo a couple times.
I know Raposo wants
Yeah,
that too.
yeah. So that's a fun fight that I would love to do.
I would love that. Are you kidding me?
It'd be a great fight. But either way,
Goosebumps from me.
so we are a week and a half away, or a little under 2 weeks.
Next week's fight week.
Next
The
week's
fight week
fight
breakdown. That's how close it is. And then before we know it, on to July 2nd. So crazy month. I don't know how you do it, boss. I don't know how I do it. I don't know how you do it. I don't know what the hell's going, but whatever. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I know that place is going to be bumping for 2 days of summer at least. And fight week next week.
Fight week next week. So make sure you follow us on all our social media so you can stay the most up to date. We gave you most of the card for July 2nd. There's probably 2 or 3 more that I might have up my sleeve. Maybe we'll give you a little bit of that next week. Tickets are still out there for Cage Science 53 on June 4th. We will have the live stream information posted next week. July 2nd fight tickets will be on sale probably next week by Monday. Once we finalize the post, we get the tickets to print. They'll be on sale next week. That's all I got for you.
Bang. That's it. Peace, everybody. Cheers. See you next week.